Hello dear students, welcome back for EWS2 session, lesson number 8, beginning of settled life, video 2. So my dear students, before we begin or continue with our lesson, let us summarize the important points that we learned in video 1. So in our previous video, we discussed two important points, right children? The first one was beginning of domestication of animals and agriculture. Now in this first point, we learned about domestication of animals, and in that we studied three steps of domestication of animal. The first one was capture of wild animals. Second, taming of the captured animals, and the third one is training them to work as beasts of burden for human beings. Then in the same first point we also studied about agriculture, which began in Israel and Iraq about 11,000 years ago. Then women started cultivation by using pointed sticks to sow seeds. Agricultural production increased considerably after the practice of plough pulled by bullocks came into use, and agriculture became the main source of livelihood. For good crops, people worshipped nature and various gods and goddesses. Then children, sharing of agricultural tasks and water resources and the security of village settlement became important. For this purpose, rules were framed and social system based on agriculture came into existence. This were some of the points we discussed in the first point, that is beginning of domestication of animals and agriculture. Then in our second point, that was special skills and various occupation, we studied that it became possible to store food grains, and as a result, some men and women used their free time to develop special skills like earthen pots, earthen objects were undertaken by the women. Now children, so today in our video 2, we will be discussing the remaining 3 points. So let's begin with our third point, that is community life based on mutual cooperation. The farmers in the village settlement were now producing surplus food. Surplus means large amount of food. They needed skilled craftsmen for tasks like making agricultural implements and repairing them. Meaning of skilled craftsman means a trained or expert worker who makes implement and tools. So dear students, the food produced by the farmers in the village settlement was more of what they needed, and they could also save the remaining food. Then the farmers needed trained people, or the skilled craftsmen, to make tools which was needed for agriculture and also to repair the agricultural tools. They needed skilled craftsmen. Such craftsmen were paid in the form of food grains or other articles. Now, dear students, now the skilled craftsmen or the trained people, they were not paid in money. So they were paid in the form of food grains or other articles like earthen pots, jewelry, etc. The craftsmen needed to obtain their raw materials from long distances. Now, dear students, the skilled craftsmen, if they wanted to make agricultural tools or implements, that is, they needed raw material. So, they used to obtain it from long distances. The price of this raw material, now this raw material what was bought from long distance, they were paid, the skilled craftsmen, they were paid in the form of food grains and articles. Thus the barter system of buying and selling was established. Now dear students, what is barter system? It is an old method of exchange This system has been used for centuries and long before money was invented. So before money was invented, barter system was in use. So in barter system, people exchanged services and goods for other services and goods in return. The barter system also began to be used when there was a need to obtain raw materials, finished objects, other articles of daily use, etc. from other places. So dear students, in our previous slide, we studied that barter system means it is an old method of exchange of things. So dear students, people in the village settlement, if they needed raw material, finished objects or other articles of daily use, they did not pay them in cash. They did not pay them in the form of money. But barter system was prevalent during those days. That means exchange of things. Exchange, they used to exchange things to buy those things from them. Salt is an essential item. Essential item means children, it's a necessary item. Most of the village settlement needed to obtain it from faraway places. Salt traders also traded articles they received in exchange of salt. The salt trade helped the expansion of trade in the New Stone Age. So my dear students, as you all know that salt is a very necessary item for cooking. Otherwise, without salt, our food will be tasteless. So people in the New Stone Age, they obtained salt from faraway places, from the salt traders. Now, these traders used to exchange salt in the form of articles like pots, raw materials, etc. And those traded articles were also exchanged in the form of other articles. The children salt trade helped to increase trade in the New Stone Age period. The village community made rules for mutual cooperation in order to keep the system of trade and distribution of resources that is for water, land, etc. to run smoothly. So the village community made rules for mutual cooperation that all the rules should be equal in order to keep the system of trade and distribution of resources of water, food and land to run it smoothly. People responsible for the implementation means for carrying out these rules, became the chief of the village settlement. So the people who were responsible for carrying out the rules, they became the chiefs, and the chiefs were entrusted. Entrusted means they were given the responsibility for doing something with the protection of the village. This is how village administrative system. Now, administrative system means to control, manage, or organize. So, the village system, administrative system came into being. Evidence. Now, dear students, evidence means proof of protective walls and moats. Moats means a deep wide ditch filled with water for safety. Around the village settlement of the New Stone Age has been found in excavation. Excavation is related to archaeological findings. Now dear students, where is the evidence of protective walls and moats around the village settlement during the New Stone Age found? It was found in the excavation. It was found by the archaeological survey. So these walls were built to protect the village settlement. So the protective wall was built to protect the village settlement from the floods, then wild animals and outsiders who stole the village cattle, that is the sheep, goats, cows, other cattle. So to protect from floods, wild animals and outsiders, a protective wall was built around the village settlement. Now children, let's see the fourth point, that is the structure of the houses. So the houses at the beginning of the new Stone Age were made of wattle and daub. Now, what is the meaning of wattle and daub? Wattle and daub means walls made of sticks and mud. So the houses at the beginning of the new Stone Age, so the houses or the walls of the houses were made of sticks and mud. Later, the walls were screen oven. Now, screen oven means children, it's a flat vertical surface that is used for dividing a room. So, it was made from sticks or bamboo, and later it was plastered with mud or cow dung. Later, the population of the village settlement grew because food was available in plenty. Now, dear students, why was food available in plenty? Because the plow pulled by animals came into use, and because of that, agricultural production increased. The village settlement became permanent and expanded. So village settlement, they became permanent in the villages, and it got expanded means it started growing. Still later, people began to build quadrangular houses of sun-dried bricks. Quadrangular houses mean, children, house having four walls, and the walls were made of sun-dried bricks. But earlier, children, houses at the beginning of the new Stone Age were made of wattle and daub. Means the house walls were made of sticks and mud. Later, the walls were screen oven from sticks or bamboo. Means the walls were made from sticks or bamboo, and they were plastered with mud or cow dung. But later on, people started building houses. They started having houses and having four walls, and the walls were made of bricks. Some houses appear to have had more than one room. Means after having quadrangular, after when people started building quadrangular houses, the houses appear to had more than one room. The houses were built very close to each other. When people started building quadrangular houses, means that when they started building houses of bricks, when the walls were made of bricks, the houses were very closely built to one another. Regional differences are seen in the style of constructing houses depending on the local climate. Now children, what is regional differences? Now this regional differences, it differs from country to country, and the style of constructing houses, it depend upon the local climate of that region. So, my dear students, we are going to move on towards our last point. That is, last point of this lesson is village settlement, kinship, and family. So, what do you mean by kinship? It means relation between the members of the same family. It appears from the plans of the houses and the village settlements that people staying there belong to a single clan. Clan means, children, a large family. It means that they were all related to one another. Thus, the entire village settlement was an extended family. Now, children, what do you mean by extended family? Means a large family, including grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. So, they all used to stay together. Thus, people living in one house were close relations. Means people living in one house were closely related to one another. But they were also members of the extended village family. Means what? Families of the other villages also were staying together. A dead person was buried either in the house or in the courtyard. Now, dear students, what is the meaning of courtyard? Means an unroofed open area in front of the house. Perhaps the idea was that the person's bond with the family should not get cut off even after death. So people in the new Stone Age, they used to think that if a person dies, he should be buried either in the house or in the courtyard. And what was the idea behind that? That the dead person's bond with the family should not get cut off even after death. Families would also bury various articles with the dead person for them to use after death. Now, these people they used to think something different, that when the dead person body is buried, they used to also bury along with the dead body. They used to bury the articles so that the dead person can use it after death. So, with this, I hope that you must have understood this lesson, children. Notes for the same will be posted in your class WhatsApp group. Do complete your notes and write it in a good handwriting in your notebook. Thank you, children, and God bless you all.